In the uncharted depths of space, far beyond the last shimmer of our sun's fading light, something ancient and unrelenting drifts through the void. It doesn't shimmer or roar. It doesn't blink with lights or announce itself with thrusters. It simply moves, slowly, silently, with a purpose we may never fully understand. This traveler is not a spaceship filled with astronauts, nor is it a returning probe meant to complete a mission and come home. It is Voyager 2, an aging messenger flung from Earth nearly 5 decades ago, still whispering across an unimaginable distance. Alone, it sails into the great nothing, its golden record spinning quietly like a heartbeat in the dark. For most of its long, tireless journey, Voyager 2 was precisely what scientists expected, a quiet observer on the very frontier of the unknown. Since crossing beyond Neptune, past the ghostly orbit of Pluto, and then through the heliopause, the invisible border where the solar wind surrenders to the interstellar medium, Voyager 2 became the first human-made object to truly enter deep space. Out there, it was supposed to encounter only the cold breath of cosmic rays, the slow drift of hydrogen particles, and the occasional echo of magnetic fields stretching across the abyss. But recently, something changed. Something that shouldn't have happened. Something moved. At first, it was subtle. Just a faint anomaly in Voyager's plasma wave data, a sudden pulse that shouldn't have been there. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, where engineers still monitor the probe's fragile signal, noticed it immediately, a brief spike lasting mere seconds, like a static crackle in the silence. But this wasn't ordinary cosmic noise. This signal carried structure. It didn't burst, it pulsed, like a rhythm. Like a beat. Like something alive. It wasn't random, and it wasn't natural. Engineers initially dismissed it. After all, Voyager 2 is ancient by spacefaring standards, nearly 50 years old, running on hardware that predates the modern internet. Its components degrade slowly, exposed to cosmic radiation and the brutal extremes of space. Maybe it was just interference. Maybe the electronics were glitching. Maybe cosmic rays had struck the sensors. But then it happened again, and again. Each time, the pulse became more defined, more intentional. The rhythm grew stronger. And then came the shock. This wasn't Voyager broadcasting. It was receiving. Hidden inside the telemetry stream, piggybacked like a parasite, was a signal that didn't originate from any known source. A low-frequency burst, modulated in a way Voyager's systems weren't programmed to generate, let alone transmit. Yet it was there, riding along the usual diagnostics like a stowaway. And when the data was decoded, what emerged was unlike anything the scientific community had seen before. Binary strings, precise and deliberate. When visualized, they formed patterns, geometries that defied coincidence. Spirals intersecting with recursive loops, symbols nested within symbols. Some looked eerily like ancient glyphs, others like fractals repeating into infinity. They didn't resemble the randomness of background radiation. They weren't echoes of long-dead stars. These were constructed, crafted with intent. And they came from something close. Too close. That's when the tracking team realized the truth. Voyager 2 had picked up motion nearby. Not a comet, not an asteroid, not even a rogue planet. This object, this presence, was moving with purpose. Approximately 500,000 kilometers away from the probe, it hovered with a precision that sent chills through the room. Its speed adjusted slightly with every hour, mimicking Voyager's drift. Like a shadow that knew how not to be seen, it followed, not on an intercept course, but on a path just distant enough to remain unnoticed. Until now. It moved too smoothly, too intelligently to be a natural object. There are no known asteroid fields in that region. No mission debris. No expected comets or trans-Neptunian wanderers. Yet this object not only existed, it was tracking Voyager's trajectory. Almost like it was listening. Observing. Perhaps, studying. When this data was confirmed by external observatories, some civilian, some military, the mood shifted from curiosity to alarm. Independent astronomers with deep space antennas confirmed the signal wasn't an artifact. The plasma wave instruments on Voyager weren't failing. The magnetometer wasn't glitching. The fluctuations in the gyroscope weren't system errors. They were evidence. Evidence that Voyager 2 was no longer alone. But the most disturbing discovery didn't come from its instruments. It came from the signal embedded in its data stream. Once decoded by a team of AI-assisted linguists and astrophysicists, the implications grew darker. These weren't just pulses or patterns. They resembled communicative structures. Not from Voyager. Voyager isn't capable of encryption or symbolic construction like this, but from something else. Something that had managed to hijack the stream. Or worse, something that had been quietly riding the signal all along. Some compared the symbols to ancient crop circles, others to sacred geometries from early human history. Still others saw mathematical structures that suggested recursion, like a message written to itself, a kind of echo loop to confirm that it had been received. Was it a warning? A signature? A map? No one could agree. But one thing was clear, this was no accident. And it wasn't the first time. Months earlier, a similar anomaly had been observed in Voyager 1's data, its twin probe, launched the same year, now also deep into interstellar space. That anomaly had been dismissed. Engineers chalked it up to radiation damage or thermal noise. But now, in retrospect, that judgment seems naive. The same patterns. The same rhythmic pulses. The same proximity to an unidentified object moving just outside range. We thought we were the watchers. We were wrong. This is not a distant exoplanet radio signal. This is not a flicker from a galaxy billions of light-years away. This is here, now. This is within reach. And that proximity makes it all the more terrifying. For decades, our search for extraterrestrial intelligence has focused outward. We assumed that if something found us, it would come blazing through our skies or announce itself with a grand message. But what if they were already here? What if they were always watching, quiet, patient, methodical? The timing couldn't be more disturbing. Humanity is entering a new era of space exploration. We're returning to the moon. We're preparing to land on Mars. We're launching telescopes capable of detecting alien atmospheres. And just as we step into the wider universe, something steps back. Something that waited for our reach to extend far enough to brush against theirs. And now that contact has occurred, we're left with questions that cut to the very foundation of what it means to be alone, or not alone, in the universe. Was this signal a greeting? A beacon? A warning to stay away? Or worse, an invitation? Some scientists remain hopeful, pointing to the structured nature of the symbols as proof of intelligence, something we might eventually learn to communicate with. But others aren't so optimistic. They see in this a pattern of surveillance. Of calculated exposure. As though someone wanted us to know, but only when it was too late to turn back. What unnerves experts the most is the method. This wasn't an overt message. It wasn't a dramatic display of power or light. It was quiet. Subtle. Hidden in the background noise we almost ignored. As though the sender knew exactly how we would receive it, exactly how long it would take us to notice. That kind of foresight isn't just intelligence, it's strategy. As the debate rages across institutions and intelligence agencies, Voyager 2 continues on its path, as it always has, unbothered and unstoppable. But now, its journey feels different. Every new transmission is met with tension. Every fluctuation is analyzed with dread. We're no longer just monitoring a probe, we're listening for something behind it. And in the silence between each ping, we begin to hear it, not static, but footsteps. Not echoes, but a breath in the void. The sense that something vast, ancient, and unknowable is out there, and now it knows we're here. As Voyager 2 continued its lonely journey through the ink-black ocean of interstellar space, its instruments remained diligently active, quietly capturing data in the cold and silence that surrounded it. But among the usual background noise, something unexpected began to emerge. An unfiltered stream of electromagnetic readings beamed back to Earth in irregular bursts. The deep space network caught it first, a faint rhythm buried beneath the static, a frequency that seemed to hum with intention. Oscillations that weren't chaotic. Not the erratic energy signatures caused by solar flares or drifting cosmic dust. These patterns moved with purpose. Frequencies that danced in loops, repeated with precision. Frequencies that had never been seen before. Analysts at first chalked it up to interference. Maybe solar activity. Maybe cosmic rays colliding with Voyager's aging sensors. But one technician decided to isolate the signal, clean up the noise, and enhance the waveform. What surfaced stunned everyone in the room. The signal wasn't just repeating, it was structured. It pulsed with mathematical discipline, every frequency spike following a calculated rhythm. It was, by all appearances, artificial. To confirm this, the team ran a Fourier transform, a process used to deconstruct signals into their core frequencies. What they found wasn't just surprising. It was chilling. The harmonic pattern mirrored the base resonance of hydrogen, the most fundamental element in the universe, but it was inverted. Like a mirror image. Hydrogen, rewritten. As if someone had deliberately taken the basic signature of the cosmos and flipped it, corrupted it, transformed it into something symbolic. But symbolic of what? A code? A key? A language? The possibilities were unsettling. They retraced the signal's path, aligning it with Voyager 2's current vector through the interstellar medium. And there it was again, that eerie, uncomfortable realization. The anomaly had changed its course. It was no longer just coasting on a fixed trajectory. It was tracking the probe. Its movement was synchronized, subtle yet precise, reacting in near real time to Voyager's pulses and telemetry signals. Buried deep in the archives, a young intern stumbled across a decades-old anomaly buried in the Voyager 1 logs, an unexplained data corruption from over 20 years ago, dismissed at the time as static or mechanical drift. But side by side, the resemblance was undeniable. The waveform distortions in Voyager 1's log matched those now pulsing from Voyager 2, nearly identical, decades apart. The realization hit like a thunderclap. Whatever Voyager 2 had encountered out there in the abyss, Voyager 1 had seen it too. This wasn't new. This wasn't coincidence. This was a pattern. Modern decoding tools, AI models designed to sift through signal clutter with near-human intuition, were applied to Voyager 1's ancient data. The match was nearly perfect. The same inverted harmonic. The same magnetic irregularities. The same veiled presence watching from the dark. And so a new theory formed, something had been there all along. Waiting. Watching. And we, in our ignorance, had already made contact. Not once, but twice. Modeling teams were brought in to chart the anomaly's movement. The simulations quickly began to fail. It didn't behave like any celestial body known to physics. It didn't obey gravitational fields. It didn't follow elliptical arcs like comets, nor did it drift like rogue planets. Instead, its path bent space around it, as though folding the cosmic fabric itself to remain hidden. It appeared in one location, vanished, then reappeared just beyond detection range, defying every known law of motion. The object moved when Voyager moved. It responded to signals, adjusted to pings, reacted to broadcasts. It was reactive. It was aware. The probe's magnetometer, a device used to detect changes in magnetic fields, began to register sharp, rapid flux changes, far too extreme to be explained by natural interstellar plasma. These weren't ambient. They were localized, and they suggested active manipulation of electromagnetic fields, like something was intentionally distorting the environment. Field lines twisted in toroidal shapes, donut-like distortions around an invisible mass, eerily similar to what theoretical physicists had once predicted for exotic propulsion systems, like the Alcubierre drive. Warp fields. The kind of energy patterns that should not exist in our reality, unless someone was bending it. Whispers began circulating behind closed doors. A retired engineer from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory leaked fragments of an internal report, classified analyses suggesting that the energy signatures matched theoretical models for spacetime curvature. Not simulated in a lab. Not hypothesized. Detected. Confirmed. Real. Had Voyager 2 drifted too close to something ancient and hidden? Had it stumbled across an interstellar intelligence far beyond our comprehension? Something capable of folding space, hiding between dimensions, or slipping through the void unseen. Back on Earth, the mystery grew darker. Radio observatories in Chile, Australia, and South Africa began reporting faint echoes, distorted signatures buried deep in cosmic background noise. These echoes matched Voyager 2's strange signal, and most disturbingly, they pulsed in time with the delay of Voyager's transmissions. Like a phantom echo, mirroring its signal across space. Analysts dubbed it the phantom pulse. It was as if something out there wasn't just responding, it was projecting itself across multiple locations at once. The signal seemed omnipresent, yet localized. Intelligent, yet evasive. Not just a message, but a presence. And it had learned how to reach us. Attempts to triangulate the signal's source produced nothing. It slipped through every effort to define it. Whatever it was, it refused to be seen. But one thing became impossible to deny: this was no longer an isolated incident. The phenomenon was global. Cross-referenced frequencies began appearing in unrelated data sets, some as far back as the early 2000s. It had been there the whole time, masked as noise. And now that we were listening with better tools, with AI models that could detect intention behind pattern, it was finally becoming clear. Inside classified rooms, a different question emerged. One more unsettling than any before: why now? Why had this presence, whatever it was, waited until this exact moment in human history to respond? Voyager 2 had been drifting silently for nearly half a century. Why did the anomaly choose this year, this moment, to become active? The answer that echoed was chilling: because we were finally ready. Our AI had matured. Our quantum computing had reached operational thresholds. We had decoded signals once thought undecipherable. We had stepped too far, reached too deep. And something noticed. Some researchers proposed a terrifying theory: not that Voyager discovered the anomaly, but that it awakened it. That its signals, long forgotten as background telemetry, were interpreted as noise by us but as a trigger by something else. That for decades, a presence had waited in the shadows of our solar system, observing, dormant, until Voyager's quiet ping, boosted by Earth's rising intelligence, finally reached the threshold that broke the silence. Governments moved quickly. Quiet shutdowns of independent observatories were reported. Certain AI labs were suddenly decommissioned. Research teams were split, reassigned, or removed entirely from their projects. When pressed for explanations, agencies offered only vague statements about data consolidation or equipment calibration. But within the black budget corridors of global intelligence, the question had become uncontainable: had we just triggered first contact, or had we awakened something that was never meant to be found? And now, as Voyager 2 continues its endless voyage through the dark, every transmission is a double-edged blade. Each burst of data could carry revelation or ruin. The patterns haven't stopped. The inverted hydrogen signal remains. The magnetic distortions persist. And still, that distant, reactive object remains just out of visual reach. Like a phantom in the void. Perhaps the most frightening element isn't the presence itself, but its precision. It chose not to interfere when Voyager was launched. Not when it passed Neptune. Not even when it crossed the heliopause. It waited until now, until we could hear it. Until we had the tools to understand it. It waited until we reached the edge of space and looked back, only to find something already staring. Voyager 2, once a simple ambassador of humanity's curiosity, has now become something far more significant. It is a harbinger. A trigger. A mirror reflecting not just our achievements, but our vulnerability. It has forced us to confront a truth we were never prepared to face, that we are not alone. That we have never been alone. And that whatever is out there, is no longer silent. As of now, the anomaly's location is unknown. Its intentions remain cloaked. But its presence is undeniable. The encoded frequencies, the mirrored pulses, the space-time distortions, they all point to something vast and intelligent, hiding just beyond the veil of perception. And the next signal, whenever it comes, might not whisper from Voyager's dying transmitter. It might thunder through our skies. It might appear over Mars, or beyond the orbit of Jupiter, or echo through the sensors of our next generation of telescopes. The story is no longer about a lonely probe crossing the stars. It's about us. About how far we've come, and what has now come to meet us. This isn't the end of the Voyager mission. This is its true beginning. And whatever comes next, it won't just change our understanding of the cosmos. It will redefine our place within it.